All right, on this special edition of IndigoMusic.com, I'm joined by one of the most reputed sports journalists of the country, Mr. Gaurav Kalra. Gaurav, absolute pleasure having you here with us on IndigoMusic.com.
Thank you, Rohit.
So let's start off with this thing. Typically in India, a lot of their parents want their kids to be engineers and to be doctors. I myself am an engineer, but I have chosen, my path to be a radio jockey. Now,
Yes.
there seems to be a change also when it comes to sports. A lot of parents are encouraging their kids to get into sports. Is there a change that you have seen probably from a decade to now?
Oh, yes, definitely, Rohit. And I think that parents are now seeing increasingly that sport is a viable career. Earlier, of course, the only way you had a viable career in sport was if you made it to the national cricket team. And
Right.
literally, that was the be all and end all of that. And only about 15 players at one time can call themselves national cricketers. However, that has completely changed. Now there's professionalism across the board, and you're seeing among some of the most successful athletes financially are non-cricketers in the likes of PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal, Sania Mirza, athletes of this kind. So there's a complete paradigm shift in mindset when it comes to the way parents look at sport for their kids.
Right now, there has also, like you were mentioning, that from cricket, there has been a shift. Now, there's also been a very big shift, according to me, when it comes to motorsports and racing. A lot of people are, getting into Dakar Rally, beat, Arvind KP or CS Santosh, and also of late Jihan Daruwala, who, is doing wonders
Yes.
in Formula 2. Now, is there a push that we can expect in the near future when it comes to motorsports?
I think so. I think, a few years ago, Rohit, I remember attending the Formula One race in India here. And, it was quite an enjoyable experience. Also, back in the day when I was starting out as a sports journalist, there was Naren Karthikeyan,
Yes.
who also competed on the Formula One circuit. There was a very active rally circuit, where rallies were held across the country. So motorsports always been been a fairly large community here in India. And now, as the economy grows, this is directly linked to the economy, and there's more disposable income. And of course, it's essentially first a hobby sport, and then it goes on into the professional realm. So I see no reason why it doesn't grow in the future. Hopefully, we get the Formula One race back in India soon.
Right. I mean, yes, it is an expensive sport. So obviously what you said absolutely made sense. Now, which is your favorite sport and why?
So I think I grew up watching a lot of cricket. I think it's very common for anyone to kind of say that. Tennis was my real favorite sport, though. I have very vivid memories. The first time I remember watching a tennis final was the '85 Wimbledon final, where a 17-year-old Boris Becker won,
Yeah.
and that became that became a real attraction. And since then, I've been completely if you like, devoted to tennis as my number one sport. I really enjoy watching it, following it, and I've been lucky enough to have seen it a little bit around the world. The other sport that I really enjoy are all the Olympic sports, athletics, badminton, of
Right.
course, and archery, shooting, things of this nature. So yeah, I have a widespread interest in sports, so if you like.
Fantastic. Now, who is your favorite sports person? And, are you biased when it comes to your stories about that person?
So that's a good question. I mean, growing up, my favorite sports person was Steffi Graf, without a
Okay.
question.
I it's so nice to hear that, because my mother's favorite sports person is Steffi Graf. She loves her. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
please,
you've
yeah,
given me
yeah.
given me a generational shift as well.
Yeah, I'm
But
sorry,
yes, Rohit,
but no, I mean, it's when we went to this place in Germany called Heidelberg. She is from Heidelberg. My mother felt like she didn't see anything. She wanted to see where's Steffi Graf's house. So she's that big of a fan of Steffi Graf. So I'm sorry
yes.
that I
So,
put the generation thing in it, but
so
yeah.
no problem at all. And I grew up being an absolute admirer of Steffi Graf, not just of her achievements, but her style of play. And when you're growing up, it leaves a very deep impression on you when a sports person actually plays in a certain manner. She had this booming forehand, beautiful rhythmic backhand, great movements on court, like a sublime athlete, and seemed to just get on with it and play her sport. Very little fuss around it, never threw tantrums. So it was almost like she was the perfect role model in a sense of the kind of sports person you enjoy watching. When one becomes a sports journalist, Roy, this is a very important question. You navigate two worlds. You are essentially a sports fan, yes,
Yeah.
but then you become a sports journalist where you've got to almost create this distance between you and the sports people you admire, and often be open to be critical of them and analyze them in a distant manner if you can. So I always I took that as a professional life lesson and stuck by it throughout my journalistic career.
Right. Now, let me put you on a spot. Have you ever written anything bad about Steffi Graf?
No, I haven't written anything bad about Steffi Graf, but then I think the advantage was that I was not covering Steffi Graf as an Indian journalist would cover an Indian sports person.
Right.
And also by the time I became a sports journalist, she had retired and moved on. So thankfully, I never had to write a critical piece about Steffi Graf.
Well, and that worked out well for you. And now, according to you, which is the most controversial sporting moment?
Oh, there have been so many, Rohit. But the one that I remember being involved very closely in was the entire Monkey Gate episode in 2007-8 in Australia,
Right.
Which was a series that I covered from the ground. It was a long series, and I remember the entire controversy in a lot of detail because it involved various elements such as racism, such as diplomatic relations between the countries, such as the relationships between the players really reaching a low point, and how explosive that entire situation was. So that is one controversy that I remember being right in the center of.
Right. Now, you've been to a lot of sporting venues all around the world. Which is the most fun venue, according to you?
The most fun venue.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching cricket in the West Indies. I thought it brought a different color and sort of enjoyment to the entire exercise. Every time in the middle of overs, the DJ would start playing music and you would kind of get involved in that almost carnival-like atmosphere. I really enjoyed being at the Australian Open tennis, which I thought was an extremely well organized but a very fun event. You almost felt like you were part of the occasion and part of the tennis. But the one event that I really kind of relish having had the opportunity to be around was the Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro in 2016, because you could sense that you were part of something extremely special and enjoyable. There was a Brazilian flavor to that entire fortnight.
Right. Fantastic. Now, do you think there's a paradigm shift in sports promotions in India, like new facilities, and also the authorities are encouraging, right? So we have also had the largest contingent of athletes last year who went to the Olympics. Now, are there good times ahead for us, athletes in India?
I definitely think things have changed and changed for the better. Of course, there's a lot more that needs to be done before India becomes a sporting superpower, but there has been interest from corporate India has been quite supportive, but the government's been very supportive as well. It's that the Target Olympic Podium scheme is essentially a funnel of funding that becomes available to all our elite sports people as they prepare for big ticket games, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, which are this year, and then of course the Olympics. And the results are starting to show, like you said, the highest ever medal haul at the Tokyo Olympics last year, including a gold medal. And one can only hope that that was the stepping stone or the sort of the catapult from where India can start to do much better in different sporting disciplines. But you can tell just by looking at performances of sports people day in and day out from India that they are making a real impression on the world stage.
Right. Now, is there any sports person you missed meeting, maybe by a whisker, or is there a sports person that is evading you?
I would have liked to meet Muhammad Ali,
Oh, wow.
but I never could meet Muhammad Ali. That was a sports person that I would have genuinely enjoyed. Simply because as a journalist, he was to interview a thinker and a philosopher almost of that kind would have been a very enriching experience. So that, of course, is something that I really regret not having had the opportunity to do. But I think when you work in this line of work, you understand that you're not going to interact with all of your emails.
Right. And the second part of the question, is there someone evading you? Someone where like they'll run out of the press conference if they see you there?
No, that hasn't happened so far. At least I don't think I've done that to any sports person. But yeah, I think so far in all these years I've managed to maintain a reasonably good relationship with whoever I've come.
Right, fantastic. Now, do you play any sport?
So, Rohit, one of the things I discovered very early, it was a realization of sorts, was that I had no talent to play sport really well. I tried very hard.
Right,
I tried to play cricket, I tried to play tennis, but I think intrinsically, I don't think I was athletic enough, or my body was suited enough, and I probably didn't want to put in the hard work as well. So
right.
then I decided that I would do the next best thing, which is be around, find ways to be around sport where I can watch it without having to pay for it, and that's worked out quite well.
Right. Now, let's talk about your favorite music. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
I have a wide range in music. I do enjoy listening to Hindi film music. I was an 80s kid, so I enjoyed pop music from pop and rock music from the 80s, 90s. So all of your Guns N' Roses,
Wow.
your Bon Jovis, your Bryan Adamses of the world. I'm perhaps not as up to speed with modern day music when it comes to rock and pop music.
Right.
But yes, having grown up in that generation, that music still resonates with me, and when I'm out on my walks I try and look out for a Dire Straits track that I can listen to, or something from Def Leppard, and things like that. So yeah, that's the kind of music I've enjoyed. And of course I think if you grow up in North India as I did, Hindi film music plays a big part in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Gaurav, once again, it was an absolute pleasure having you here with us on indigomusic.com. Thank you so much for making time and connecting with us. Please stay safe and keep smiling.
Thank you so much, Rohit. It was an absolute pleasure speaking to you.